A corrupt attorney's protege is morally conflicted when her mentor's actions lead to murder on today's Miami Vice. Fruit of the Poison Tree was directed by Michelle Manning and written by Rob Reagan in his Miami Vice debut. Michelle Manning, who is Miami Vice's second female director, is a well-respected producer and studio executive. She was president of production at Paramount Pictures back in the early 2000s when I worked there. To the familiar and always welcome strains of U2's Desire, a drug lord named Roberto Enriquez, played by Jeffrey Meek, awaits the delivery of 200 keys of cocaine due to arrive by train. An undercover Gina is on his arm, posing as his girlfriend, and the rest of the Vice team is ready to move in and arrest him. Enriquez's courier, a man named Jordan, played by Anthony Latanzio, delivers a single key of cocaine to him. Before he can take ownership of the entire shipment, Enriquez spots Crockett when he stops an unrelated robbery of a hot dog vendor, and Enriquez tries to flee. The Vice team finally manages to arrest Enriquez, but not before he somehow manages to get his fancy white suit entirely covered in tar. At Enriquez's trial, his high-priced lawyer, Sam Boyle, points out that the search warrant for Enriquez's car had the wrong license number on it thanks to a typo from Switek. The case is thrown out of court. Sam Boyle is played by Stephen McHattie, who was Hollis Mason in the Watchmen film and who is very good in this episode. Sam Boyle seems like a prototype of Christopher Walken's Max Schreck from Batman Returns. There are few higher compliments. After the case is dismissed, Crockett snipes at Boyle, and Boyle's associate, an attorney named Lisa Madsen, comes to the defense of her mentor. Lisa Madsen is played by Pulp Fiction and Fisher King star Amanda Plummer. At Vice headquarters, the detectives discuss the case. Gina is still embedded undercover with Enriquez, who still needs to pick up the remaining 199 keys of cocaine from Jordan. In the men's room of a fancy restaurant, Boyle is approached by mobster Frank Romano, played by Tony Sirico, who is Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos. Boyle embezzled $500,000 from Romano, and Romano is not happy about that. His goons beat up Boyle, and then Romano tells him he'll need to repay him a cool $1 million. Lisa meets with Boyle, and it's clear they have a very affectionate relationship. Boyle is the former partner of her late father, and while Boyle seems to view her as a surrogate daughter, it's clear Lisa hero worships Boyle and has romantic feelings for him. At Enriquez's mansion, Gina overhears Enriquez making plans to get his cocaine from Jordan. An undercover Tubbs and Crockett book a flight with Jordan, who's a private pilot, as part of their attempt to discover when Jordan will be delivering the rest of the cocaine to Enriquez. A gun-toting Boyle arrives at Jordan's hangar and shoots and kills him before stealing the 199 keys of cocaine from him. At a party, Gina dances to Walking Toward Paradise by Robert Plant while she eavesdrops on a call regarding the delivery of the cocaine. She then passes the location along to Vice. Vice converges on Enriquez's limo, expecting to find a deal going down. Instead, they find Enriquez meeting with an irate Lisa, who slaps Crockett with a court order regarding Vice's harassment of her client. Realizing that Gina was deliberately fed bad information by Enriquez, who thus probably knows she's a cop, Crockett and Tubbs speed to her home, where a young neighbor boy is helping her carry packages from her car. The kid picks up a wrapped gift left on her doorstep, and it explodes, killing him. Crockett confronts Lisa. She's distressed to hear of the murder of the boy, but she's too loyal to Boyle to tell Crockett where he can find Enriquez. Over dinner with Boyle, Lisa, who is still upset about the death of the boy, tells him about Crockett's visit. Boyle tries to reassure her, but accidentally lets it slip that he already knew about the murder from Enriquez. So Lisa secretly meets with Crockett and lets him look at Boyle's private client files so he can find out where Enriquez is hiding. As Crockett and Lisa are going through the files, she finds papers dealing with her father's unsolved murder. With the information from the files, Vice tracks Enriquez to his hideout and arrests him. Crockett and Tubbs have to talk Gina out of shooting Enriquez because all our Vice detectives are deeply burned out and on edge this season. Boyle gives the 199 keys of stolen cocaine to Frank Romano to settle his debt. Enriquez goes to trial for the murder of Gina's young neighbor. Under oath, Crockett says Vice got Enriquez's address through a confidential informant. Lisa takes the stand, though, and confesses that she gave Crockett that information, which is a violation of attorney-client privilege. The judge throws out the case, and Enriquez is free yet again. Lisa tells Boyle she knows he murdered her father, and thus she set Enriquez loose and told him Boyle stole his coke. Knowing Enriquez will try to kill him, Boyle heads to a private airstrip to flee the country. Crockett, who is nobody's fool, figures out why Lisa double-crossed him and visits her to see where the hit's gonna go down. Enriquez ambushes and kills Boyle before he can board his private jet. Crockett and Tubbs arrive and arrest Enriquez. The episode ends with Lisa going to pieces over Boyle's corpse and Crockett tersely asking her how how she expected this all to go down. This is one of those episodes that I didn't have much use for when it originally aired. I didn't dislike it, but I thought it had an awful lot of long, talky scenes without any of our main characters. Plus, I've always had a certain ambivalence about Amanda Plummer, who I tend to find kind of grating in many of her performances. I have since upgraded my opinion of this episode, and I've misjudged Plummer, who is very good here. We've had episodes centering around morally conflicted attorneys and their sleazebag clients before, such as Season 2's underwhelming One-Way Ticket, but this one stands out just for how well developed those characters are. The scenes between Lisa and Crockett are especially good. After his exploits as Sonny Burnett, Crockett is different now, and Don Johnson does some interesting things with his performance to make those changes clear. Crockett spends a lot of time this episode absolutely furious with Lisa, with good reason, but he keeps his anger very quiet and controlled. He's become a lot more like Castillo than the Crockett of earlier seasons, who would yell and stomp around and flounce dramatically out of rooms whenever he got angry. Amanda Plummer does some great work in these scenes too, and it's enough to earn this episode 4 flamingos. Next time, Tubbs starts an ill-advised romance with the widow of a drug lord. Until then, please hit subscribe or find me on Twitter to discuss Miami Vice, and have a great week.